Hi everyone. Um, Welcome to this screencast on what we're going to call decaling. And this is an optional technique that you could use to help create the elements that you plan on putting on top of your automata. And essentially what this mimics is if we were going to find an image from the internet, particularly JPEG, and maybe print it out in color and glue it to a piece of cardboard stock or plastic cardboard stock, which we have, and then cut that element out. And you can then use that for the top of your automata if you decide not to create three-dimensional 3D printed objects. So here's a finished product that I created, which is a guitar, which I might use for my automata. And if I flip that over, you can kind of see how it's has some thickness to it because this is essentially a decal that's been fixed to a model of cardboard and then cut out. So I'm just going to walk through the steps on how to do this. I'm going to essentially just recreate the same thing here. So I'm going to start a new file here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a model of the cardboard, which will be really simple. And you do want to think about the size of your object and make a model of a piece of cardboard that's not too big but big enough for your object. So I'm going to start a sketch. I'm going to go to any 2D plane. I'm going to choose my rectangle tool, and I'm going to make a 6-inch by 6-inch square. Take a look at that square. And now I'm going to finish that sketch and extrude it to give it some thickness. And I'm going to use 0.2 inches. That's a little under a 1/4 inch, which is pretty close to the thickness of a piece of cardboard. Okay, so there's my cardboard stock. And look at the front here. Okay, so to really do this, we might find a picture on the internet, cut it out, and stick it to this cardboard stock. So I'm going to kind of do that virtually here. I've already found an image, and I know where my image is, where it's saved. So I am going to start a new sketch, and I want to sketch on the surface of this cardboard. So I'm going to click on it, okay, and I'm going to just reposition myself. Okay, now over here toward the right, if you can see where my mouse is, there's a button that says Insert Image. So I'm going to click on that. And I happen to have my guitar image right here. I open. And kind of like when you place things in an assembly, I can place multiple images. So I just want one, so I'll click once. And there, I placed it. And I'm going to hit Escape because I don't want any more. Now, if I turn this over, that's way too big. You can see the cardboard stock behind it, which is much smaller. So I want to scale that down. At this stage, you should just be able to click on the image itself. Careful, you can rotate it. But I'm going to scale it down, maybe to this big, and I'm just going to move it right to the center. Okay. Now, it might look like that image is fixed to the cardboard behind it, or to the model of the cardboard behind it, but it's not quite yet. Okay, so at this point, I am going to finish my sketch. And to essentially glue that to the cardboard, we're going to use this decal command. And by the way, if you can see in this little preview here, you can do this on the curved surfaces as well. So I'm going to click decal. It wants me to first choose the image. So I'll click on that image. And then it wants me to choose the face I want the image to be decaled to. And I'm going to select this wrap face command, and I'll choose the, it's a flat surface, so it won't matter, but I'm going to choose the cardboard stock behind it, click OK, and you can see it looks a little bit different now, but now that image is permanently fixed to that face, as if we really glued it. Okay, now the last part. We want to cut it out. And to do this, we're essentially going to draw an outline around our image carefully. And then we're going to project the outline edges of the cardstock forward on a sketch, so we can have an inside profile and an outside profile. And then we can use our extrude cut tool to cut one of those two profiles away. And we're going to want to do the outside profile. So I'm going to get started here. I'm going to start a new sketch. And I'm going to click on this face because I want to do a new sketch on that face. I'm going to reposition myself. And I'm going to start with the line tool. I'm going to do this a little quicker than I might want to. You want to take your time. Okay, and I'm going to create a bunch of line segments that, basically mimic if I was using a pair of scissors to cut this out. This is just to help model so it doesn't, or it's to create our final assembly model. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. The key here is when we're all done, we have to make sure that we have a complete connected loop or profile around our object. If it's not connected, like if I stopped right here and these lines weren't connected, we won't be able to extrude. So as you can see here, I'm going to zoom in and really make sure I have finished connecting to the line and I have a complete outline, an uninterrupted outline around this guitar. Okay, so I'm going to hit escape because I'm done with that. Now we need the outside profile, which is the outside edges of the cardboard behind it. Now you can see those edges, but they're not really on our sketch. They're behind the sketch. So to get these outside edges as part of our sketch, we want to use the Project Geometry tool. So I'm going to click Project Geometry, and I'll click on, you can see it highlights the model of the cardboard. And when I click it, you'll see now those outside edges are yellow, which means they're part of my new sketch. So my sketch now consists of the yellow outline of the cardboard and my green outline of the guitar. So I have two closed profiles, one on the inside, one on the outside. I'll hit finish. Okay. And now I'm going to go to my extrude tool, get ready for extrude cut. Okay, so remember we want to choose this second box here, which is the cut box. Then it wants me to choose the profile. I can choose this inside profile, but that would basically just cut out the guitar and leave a hollow shape of the guitar. I want to cut what's on the outside, as you can see, away from it. So I clicked on this outside profile, which is now all blue, and that's what it'll cut away. Now for distance, we want to cut through everything, so I'll choose all. And then finally, okay. And there it did it. Cut everything else away except for the inside profile. And what I now have left behind is a nice model, flat model of a decal that has been, glued to a piece of cardboard stock that I can now insert into my Automata assembly model. So, this is something everyone can do, and if you want to get really realistic images on top of your automatas, you can use this technique. You can go out to the internet and find actual JPEGs, and we have plenty of this cardstock for real, and do this. Otherwise, I would love to see folks choose to also, 3D model things that we could 3D print. So I just want to go over this option. And as we kind of finish up modeling the tops of our automata. So, yeah, the end.